Let's first take a look at the general things here. So the total swing time, this is beginning of the backswing, and then this is impact here. So your total swing time is very similar to a men's average. But I want you to shorten this. In other words, you still need to have a bit faster backswing.
Faster backswing? Okay.
And also, this graph shows the cleavage speed. And then so from here to here is the backswing, and then from here to here is the downswing.
Okay.
When you look at the backswing cleavage speed, the peak occurs almost at the center here, right?
Huh.
So in the backswing,
So halfway going back, almost?
in terms of time,
Got you.
in terms of time. But I want you to have the peak more on the right side.
Interesting.
That means more toward the end of the backswing.
Okay.
So initially it can be a bit slower motion, but then I want you more, emphasize more the end part of the backswing here, so that you can connect it to the downswing.
Yeah.
Because this is important in terms of the transition,
That's where I struggle.
particularly the transition sequence.
Yeah.
So what happens is you have just almost there's a peaceful motion in the backswing here. With this motion, in terms of time, at the middle of the backswing, you have the peak cleavage speed.
Yeah. So it goes
But
slow,
go back here.
fast.
You don't have to intentionally slow this down, but more put the effort toward the end of the backswing.
Okay.
So go here and then and then create this coiling here
Gotcha.
toward the end
Okay.
instead of early.
Gotcha.
So I will show you, sequence-related things, since you are concerned about your sequence. Basically, the sequence patterns are similar in all club conditions.
Okay.
So if you are struggling with the sequence in the wedges shot, that means you also have issues in the long clubs.
Yeah.
So, so one thing first, I want you to speed up the backswing more, and then keep the peak cleavage speed more toward the top of backswing.
Okay.
That means you have good elaborated coiling toward the end of the backswing. And your speed is similar to what we had before. Last time it was about 117, now it's 118 on the average. So, and then top view here. So again, the large rectangle here is the cleavage motion. So it's a swing plane here. And then the smaller rectangle, this shows the hand motion plane.
Oh, I see.
And then
Going left.
in terms of your hand motion, you tend to pull the hands in.
Yeah.
And then the club head, in the previous one, the club head was also moving inward
Okay.
somewhat, but now it's around the target direction here.
Yeah.
As you can see, this positive value means inward, negative value means outward. So you have 3 showing outward alignment, 2 showing slight inward alignment.
Okay.
So on the average, it's fairly aligned toward the target. So this is minor changes, but still the way you move your hands remains very similar.
Okay.
This is because you're still using quite upper body timing in the swing.
Yeah. Right.
So,
That makes sense.
so when that happens, the hands are pulled inward here. Then, as you can see in the follow through, the cleavage deviates from the swing plane less. So this line is the actual cleavage path, and this is the projected path on the plane.
Interesting.
But it shows a small deviation.
Cool.
So it's showing the tendency of a spiral swing, which is the same to your older swing. So still it's showing that you're using upper body dominant pattern here, and then you tend to pull the hands inward. Now this is when you align everything along the swing plane. This pattern is slightly better than last time, because last time you initially lifted this slightly and then went up here, but now it's more straight path. But the thing is, so now at the top of backswing, you see the club head is deviated quite a bit from the swing plane. Your hands are deviated also quite a bit swing plane. From here, if you look at the downswing club head path here, it's almost a symmetrical about a line drawn here parallel to the swing plane.
Yeah.
So it's making this large arc coming down here.
Yep.
It gradually is coming toward the swing plane here.
Uh-huh.
And then by the time you reach the horizontal shaft alignment, still it shows a positive deviation here.
Okay.
So that means you're not doing the shallowing action
It's
that
not
effectively.
lowering, right? It's too on top. It's too upper body down.
It's because you're dragging it with the upper body. Here.
Right.
You're pulling it,
Yeah.
so it's hard to drop it
Right.
toward the swing plane.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So this pattern did not change from the
Okay.
previous one. So, and then so when it gradually comes down here, then later in the follow through, you tend to
Swing left.
bring this way. So in the follow through, it goes slightly below the swing plane. It stays close to the swing plane, and then slight deviation here.
Okay.
So this is classified as spiral swing pattern.
Interesting.
So you start from this positive deviation here at the top, coming down here gradually, and then goes slightly below the swing plane in the follow through. As opposed to a planar pattern, which shows a positive deviation here, shows good planar motion, and then again shows positive deviation here. In order to have the planar pattern, you have to use a lower body more, and then you have to have the feel of throwing it instead of
Yeah.
dragging it.
Yeah.
So that part did not change. And then this red line shows the hand motion here relative to the swing plane.
Okay.
So this is the top of backswing here. Let me change the scale here a little bit. Yeah. So this is when the pelvis rotation is completed here. It's called the endopelvis rotation, and then this is the top of backswing here.
Okay.
So from endopelvis rotation to top of backswing, the hands stay pretty much the same position here relative to the swing plane. And then this green line shows the relative motion of the club head to your hand
Oh, interesting.
in the off-plane direction here.
Yeah.
So it also stays pretty much from here to here. That means you don't have active shallowing action
Yeah.
through the top of action.
Right.
So typically, in order to introduce this shallowing motion, the best strategy is you go a bit higher in the backswing, and before you reach the top position, you already introduce this shallowing motion.
Okay.
So it's okay to keep the club head away from the swing plane more than your hands. That's okay. But if you introduce a natural looping motion here, and then shallow it during the transition phase, before you reach the top,
Okay.
when that happens, then naturally it will continue. So as you start downswing, it will keep moving downward a bit earlier. So then the club head tends to move quickly toward the swing plane, and they have a good planar motion here.
Yeah.
But because you just go up here and then maintain that, and then just to start the downswing here. So one thing you want to try is a little bit of a looping motion here. So
Yeah.
go a bit higher, bring the club head a bit higher, and then bring this down a little bit before you reach the top of backswing.
Sure.
Yeah, that will give you a continuous shallowing motion.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to pull it down quite a bit. But for that, in order to do that, during the transition phase, your body has to work with the ground. So while your body is still working with the ground, then you introduce this motion here.
Yeah.
Instead of just go up here and then try to pull it down.
That's, yeah. I got caught up with trying this, but without using the ground in the past. So I ended up trying to do the motion you're talking about by never incorporating the ground, and it backfired.
Yeah, so at this position here, your focus should be actually here,
Yeah.
not this one here.
Because this should drive that.
Yeah, when you emphasize the body action here, then this naturally happens.
Exactly, yeah.
But without this, when you try to use the upper body actively,
It does
then
the
it's
opposite.
hard to do that.
Yeah.
So this is something that I'm looking at in these days. We just finished the manuscript a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and the paper is submitted. But so I'm more interested in this aspect now. So
I think you're right. Just there's a whole school of thought where that's like the most important thing being taught these days is everyone's got to shallow it this way, and it's so upper body focused. But I've always been of the opinion that this should be driven by your lower body, and nobody talks about that.
When your hands are pulling the handle down, rapidly, it's hard to introduce that motion.
Yeah.
Because what happens is when the handle moves down, the clevet moves up here. That's why you have this round
Yeah, and it stays on top.
pad
too
here.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when that happens, it's hard to introduce motion. So when you have more active motion here, and then without putting a lot of effort here,
Yeah.
then you can actually do this.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the area I'm quite interested in these days. And then your pelvis motion largely stays the same here, the degree you rotate. And then this also pattern here. This is up and down motion here.
Okay.
So you are moving down and then but stops here and then try to introduce this again.
Okay.
Instead of having a one piece motion, continuously dropping the body and then kicking the ground versus
Okay.
you are lowering it a little bit. And then, so you have a sort of hesitation from here to
Yeah,
here.
it kind of stops halfway, right?
So here you're losing the effect of a backswing.
Huh.
That's why I ask you to speed up your backswing.
That's why it probably correlated to where it almost in the middle of the backswing. There's that dip almost, right? Because
So this will give you a poor X factor pattern,
yeah.
and also this will affect the transition sequence
Interesting.
because you are losing that momentum here.
Okay, so that is saying that I go down, but then I stop almost, right?
So it's almost you have two-stage motion here. So you're
Gotcha.
going down here and then stays there and then try to do this again instead of having continuous motion.
Interesting.
But in order to have a continuous pattern, you need to speed up the motion.
I see.
When you have a reasonably fast motion, then you have a really simple acceleration deceleration pattern always in the motion.
Yeah.
But when you have more time than that, then you have option here. It's like playing the first generation computer game. It was a block. You had a set of blocks here,
Yeah.
and then the ball was moving like this, and you move the pedal to hit the ball, and then the ball goes, and then it breaks the blocks, right? So you keep moving the pedal and then hit the ball.
Right.
When the ball speed is reasonable, your reaction is really simple.
Yeah.
Okay, so just go in the hit like this.
That makes sense.
But when the ball is slow,
Yeah.
then you have several options here. One, you quickly move it here and wait until the ball actually reaches there. So you have to guess the impact position and then you move it and then wait there. Or you see what happens. So the ball goes slowly and then hit it and then start coming back. Then you start to move and hit the ball. So there are different ways to do that because you have too much time. So instead of having just a smooth acceleration, deceleration here, you wait here and then acceleration, deceleration. You can have early acceleration and then slow deceleration.
Okay.
Slow acceleration and then deceleration. You have different strategies.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find the right movement.
I get that.
But when you have reasonable time here, so you have to generate reasonable speed, then it's simple, just a similar acceleration deceleration pattern. So there's no reason to worry about this. Your body will automatically move like that.
I get that.
But if it's too fast, then now problem because you don't have enough time to match that.
Right.
So there must be an optimal speed of motion, which will naturally draw a good, smooth acceleration deceleration pattern, right? So then you need to use that optimal speed in the backswing so that you automatically get rid of all these variations in the acceleration deceleration.
Okay.
And then when you have this kind of two-stage backswing motion here, so this is up and down motion. This is the lateral tilt of the pelvis.
Okay.
It also shows that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just stops tilting. Stops tilting.
So these are all coming from the same one because in the backswing you have almost a two-stage motion here.
Yeah. It's
So-
slow then fast.
So if you look at the thorax motion here, this blue line shows a thorax rotation about the spine axis here. Again, we have change in the slope about here instead of going continuously.
Okay.
And then X factor here. So the separation between the shoulders and hips here. Initially, you have a rapid increase in the X factor. That means you are separating these. So you are starting the backswing with the upper body turn.
Yeah.
And then no more increase in the X factor.
Yeah.
So you have a plateau here.
Right.
Then suddenly you try to start it again.
Right.
So this is top of backswing here. But your maximum occurs here, maximum X factor. This is because you're opening the pelvis faster than the other body parts. So what this usually causes a sliding of the pelvis and then early opening of the pelvis.
Interesting. So I'm opening too early.
Because you are generating this, this is called X factor stretch. Beyond endopelvis rotation, further increase in the X factor is called X factor stretch.
Okay.
But you are generating X factor stretch incorrectly. So you try to generate the large downswing stretch. Once the downswing starts, pelvis has to rotate faster than the shoulders to create this additional stretch.
Right.
But an easier way to increase the stretch is a backswing stretch. So in the backswing stretch, still it's a backswing. So upper part is still rotating this way, but your pelvis stops and then starts rotating this way.
Yeah.
Then these are rotating in the opposite direction. So naturally you can generate the X factor easily, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then between 5 and 6, 5 is the end of pelvis rotation, 6 is top of backswing. But in this phase, you should have a continuous increase in the X factor.
I see.
Then X factor peaks around top of backswing and then starts decreasing here.
Gotcha.
But in your case, you have early separation, hesitation here, and another separation here, and you have a large downswing stretch. It's because you have early opening of the pelvis.
I just fire very quickly.
Now, when you open the pelvis early, like this, then your instep leaves the ground early.
Yeah.
So if you look at your swing motion, you see?
Yeah, I see right there.
It's not the whole foot rolling like this and then finish.
Yeah.
Instead, your instep leaves early here.
Yeah.
This is going backward. Because you have to open the pelvis early. That's why it brings the hip backward too much.
Gotcha.
That's why this happens.
Okay.
So you do have this two-stage backswing motion here.
Okay.
When you change this, so you have a more continuous pattern, the easiest way to do this is speed up the backswing.
Okay.
Make it a bit faster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. When you have a faster backswing, then automatically you are getting rid of all these unnecessary two-stage motion.
Gotcha.
When you have this two-stage motion, then it affects the transition sequence definitely.
Yeah.
And then you were, last time when you came here, you were transitioning almost at the same time, everything. But this time, what I see is that the pelvis goes first, the rest goes together. So you are intentionally emphasizing the pelvis, early pelvis motion. I don't know whether it's because of instruction from your coach or is your preference, but so I looked at your old the previous report and then this one. One difference was this here. Kinematic sequence here. This is the transition sequence. This area here.
Okay.
You see the pelvis goes first and then these are clustered.
Yeah.
Last time all of these were clustered.
Huh.
But this is happening because you have a two-stage backswing motion and then you're pulling it down on the way down. So you have a poor separation of the shoulders and pelvis during the backswing. Then you try to pull it down so everything is rotating together.
Okay.
Now what I see is the pelvis is going a bit earlier than the others. That this promotes that sharp increase in the X factor.
Yeah.
In
I'm
the
not doing it the right
downswing.
way. I'm doing it the improper way.
So the right way to increase the X factor stretch is doing it in the backswing. So by using the momentum of the backswing motion, then your upper body keeps rotating this way, but your pelvis changes direction.
Yeah.
And then with that, you have a good, separation automatically.
Yeah.
And then in the downswing, you don't have to worry about this because you have enough separation, so your muscles are stretched enough.
Yeah.
And they are
You
loaded,
think about it.
so you just go down.
Okay.
So it's also easier for your muscles
Yeah.
when that
Well,
happens.
good. That's ideal.
So instead of rotating the pelvis faster than the shoulders, creating this X factor versus
Yeah.
the two parts are rotating in the opposite direction and then creating the separation. Obviously, the backswing stretch is a lot easier to generate. So what you need is straighten this.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how much you generate the separation here,
Yeah.
but it should be continuous pattern all the way to a top of backswing and then goes down here.
Yeah, we don't want any peaks and valleys in the abrupt change.
And then 5 and 6, this is the transition phase. And then 6 to 7, this is early downswing phase. But you see short transition phase and then long early downswing phase because this means that your body is not ready. So you have to waste some time at the beginning of the downswing to prepare your body again by rotating the pelvis early.
Yeah.
But instead, during the backswing, by elongating the transition phase, we can have more stretch here. Then the body muscles are all elongated here. Then you can just go down, start accelerating the body. So it's easier to, for the body, and particularly the muscles.
Good. That's ideal.
Yeah. So it's simple. If you just increase the backswing speed, and then when you increase the backswing speed, naturally the peak speed occurs a bit later.
Gotcha.
And then you have more active end part of backswing.
Yeah.
This will give you all the muscles elongated.
Yeah.
So these are all showing basically the same thing. So I can see from this here, the backswing, you can increase the backswing speed. And then the pelvis motion here, we see this two-stage motion here. And then thorax motion also shows a bit of the two-stage motion here. X factor definitely shows the two-stage motion.
Yeah.
So you have early separation. This is called the early separation pattern. You have early separation, but it plateaus here. And then, because you know your body is not ready, then you have to do something that's expressed in the form of a downswing stretch.
Yeah.
So
it gets worse with the irons and wedges. Like
when your longer club has this kind of issue, then you will have the same issue in the shorter clubs.
easily, yeah.
And then which kinematic sequence are you most concerned in terms of wedges?
Anything that is not a full shot. So I'm very comfortable with hitting a driver, long clubs, where I don't have to hit something like 80, 70%. But once I go to hit something that's not full with a wedge or an iron, that's where I feel like I get slow, fast, and then it gets a little jumbled in the
So you have to
area.
move your pelvis early, and then
Yeah. That's where I struggle the most.
even with your shorter shots or partial shots, still you need to have a bit faster backswing here.
Okay.
And they have a very similar rhythm here. Using this motion, using the momentum, you have more time here instead of go slow and then just stop there.
Yeah.
Then you have to move everything at once here. But when you have a bit faster motion and let it go like a swing,
Yeah.
it comes up, you don't have to worry about this, or you don't need to fight. Let it come up and then go here. So, and then hit.
Yeah.
It hits. Vijay Singh.
Yeah.
Kapow, kabam.
Yeah.
So when you have that rhythm, then most of it is done during the backswing here. So in the downswing, you just follow the rhythm and then let it go.
Gotcha.
Instead of try to hit it with the upper body.
That's where I struggle with shorter shots.
So,
Two upper body dominance.
so say something always when you practice.
Yeah.
Say something which will give you good overall rhythm.
Okay.
Like a Vijay Singh. Vijay Singh with the long club, obviously you are sort of exaggerate this here. But then shorter ones, just still Vijay Singh, Vijay Singh, Vijay Singh,
Cool.
Vijay Singh. But still, it's a similar idea.
Okay.
And then when you say something like this, then your lower body also responds here. So Vijay Singh, because the whole rhythm has to come from the leg actions here.
Yeah.
Vijay Singh,
Yeah.
Vijay Singh. So as you increase the intonation, then you have larger motions here.
Cool.
But fundamentally, you will have a very similar rhythm. And particularly, you need to have, continuous backswing motion. And then the transition phase is the most important sequence. The transition sequence is the most important one.
Okay,
A
great.
lot of people look at the downswing sequence, but actually the transition sequence is the most important one.
Yeah.
And in the backswing here, you will see that the pelvis reaches peak angular velocity about here.
Okay.
It's way earlier.
Yeah, too early, huh?
This has to be more at the center here. So the pelvis peak angular velocity should happen more at the center of the backswing.
Okay.
Then the club peak angular velocity should be more delayed here. So everything is happening quite early here. That's why you have an early motion and then slow down here in the hesitation, the
Yeah.
two-stage motion. And then you realize that when you go slow here, this is not enough, my body is not ready. Then on the way down, you have to do this.
Fascinating.
But when you have a good backswing motion and then let it keep moving this way while this is stopping,
Yeah.
you have good stretch here. Your body gives you the sensory input that, oh, your body is ready to go, and okay, boom.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And then the timings of the downswing peak angular velocity, these are good. So all these are happening around 8 here or before. So this is okay. So you don't need to worry about the downswing sequence.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, people give unnecessary attention to downswing sequence. That also causes early sliding of the pelvis.
Cool.
Because here you want to separate all these peaks.
Yeah.
But downswing is happening in a short time period. So you cannot really separate all this. Besides the main motion, rotation, and then let it go here, there's no reason to have different timings here. In the downswing, the motion is a lot faster.
Yeah.
So depending on the devices you use to measure the downswing sequence, some will show separations, but no worry about that.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Yeah. So the main thing is the transition sequence. If you have good transition sequence, that means you can really, if you have a good transition sequence, that means you can really use the backswing to promote good downswing.
Yeah.
Because the backswing and downswing are better connected.
Yep. I agree.
So this is really important. And this pink line is the wrist angular velocity. So in your case, it's early uncocking followed by recocking.
Really?
Yeah. So
So.
in terms of effect, you have a little bit of the uncocking first, but then on the way down, you have cocking again.
Yeah.
No, you are not intentionally pulling, but
Right.
because on the way down here, the burden on the muscles, these muscles are active here, and then if you resist less, then you go more cocking.
Okay.
When you activate this muscle hard, then you go uncocking. So this is called the early uncocking followed by recocking pattern here. But in your case, I think that this is okay. So this will give severely delayed the final uncocking here.
Okay.
So with that, when you use the wrist well, then the wrist angular velocity goes high, then club angular velocity goes high here.
Okay. That's good.
So this delayed release gives a positive effect, but really I want to see improvement in the transition sequence. That means you have to connect the backswing to downswing better.
Okay. Perfect. That's what I was hoping for.
So then, this is frontal view here, and then see how you are using the ground. So this is the force here. The red line is the total force. Green is the force acting on the lead foot. The blue is the force acting on the trail foot here. So initially, you have a bit more force on the lead foot,
Okay.
and then you have a good trail side push here, and the unloading on the lead side. So this is good. However, the total force should go a bit higher here. That means that you should have a more net push.
Yeah. So it's almost like I'm going this way instead of.
So instead of just redistributing the weight,
Yeah.
you should have more positive push,
Push
more
this
active
way
push.
almost.
Yeah. With that,
And that should help the backswing speed.
faster backswing. Yeah.
Can I start writing some notes down very quickly?
These are all recorded, so
Okay,
you'll
perfect.
be able to watch this
Oh,
again.
awesome,
Yeah.
amazing.
I will post this to YouTube, but
Cool.
you are the one who can watch this.
Perfect.
Yeah. So watch this again and again,
Will do.
and you have to then come up with some bullet points. So
Yeah.
what you want to do.
Cool.
Okay, with that. So initially you have a good push with the trail side here. So you have loading on the trail side, unloading on the lead side. However, you need to increase this push a bit more by awakening the trail leg here. So then this red line will go further up.
Okay.
And then the main problem with the hesitation in the backswing is here. You see, in the vertical direction, we always interact with the ground by pushing the ground harder than your body weight
Okay.
and then less than the body weight.
Okay.
On the average, the vertical force is equal to your body weight, unless you leave the ground,
Right.
unless you jump. So as long as you stay on the ground, that means overall, from the beginning to the end of the swing motion here, then the average vertical force should be equal to your body weight.
Right.
But then, when we have active interaction with the ground, then you have active push. That means the ground reaction force becomes greater than your body weight, which is this phase here. So this is active push. And then after that, if you have active push, then you must have unweighting. So the ground reaction force becomes less than the body weight.
Right.
So this is the unweighting here. This is also unweighting here.
Right.
Now the problem is, you have initial slight unweighting here, and then more unweighting here. So you have two unweighting phases here.
Yeah.
That means, so this is more or less coming from this push here. So these two areas are similar, right? And you go back to the body weight, and then in order to do the downswing, you are introducing this unweighting again. And with this unweighting, you're pushing hard here. So your ground reaction force is greater than elite man's average because of this unweighting. However, these two unweighting phases should be combined into one continuous unweighting here.
Yeah.
So this phase is coming from a slowdown of the upward motion.
Yeah.
During the swing, your center of mass moves up and down here.
Yeah.
And then, so the center of mass, the red dot is here, and then this green line shows the path. So your center of mass starts moving up here. So this is probably the high point here. The center of mass is now located at the highest point here. So from the low point to high point, as your center of mass moves upward, toward the end of the upward motion, you have unweighting. Because in order to initially start the acceleration, you push harder, but then at the end, you have to push less to slow this down, right?
Okay.
So this initial unweighting is more or less coming from slowdown of the upward motion. And then you have another unweighting phase at the beginning of the downward motion by letting the body drop. Okay, when your body starts dropping, and that means you are not pushing the ground harder. So you're allowing your body to drop, right? So this unweighting is more coming from the beginning of the downward motion.
Okay.
And then here you try to intentionally drop your body quite a bit and then push hard. So this here, the peak force is coming from slowing down the downward motion. So now at the peak, your center mass is actually at the low point.
Okay.
So your body is overall, your body is moving downward. At the beginning, you allow this downward motion, so it's unweighting. But then if you let it go, then you will collapse, right?
Yeah.
So in order to prevent that, you start pushing harder to slow this down. With that, you are generating this large force here.
Right.
So the timing of this peak force is good.
Right.
However, you need to connect these here. So the end part of the upward motion and then beginning of the downward motion, these should be well connected and continuous unweighting.
Okay.
Instead of go up here and then a little bit of a stop here,
Yeah.
and then start the downward motion again.
Should be.
Yeah, it's
Almost like that.
it's continuous push well, and then let it drop. Yeah,
That, okay.
that is coming from active leg action,
Gotcha.
trail leg action.
Makes sense.
So you can combine these two unweighting phases
Uh-huh.
by connecting the backswing motion to the downswing motion here. And again, the easiest way to do that is speed up the backswing. Speeding up the backswing automatically gives you active right leg action.
Wow. Okay.
So then what happens is this unweighting peak occurs a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then if you look at these individual forces, you have the maximum separation here, but the difference decreases.
Yeah.
By the time you reach the top, you almost have the same amount of force on both sides. Instead, when you have active right leg action, still at this point, this force should be greater.
Yeah.
So then the center pressure at this point stays closer to the trail side, and then you will have a good inclination of the force arrow.
So more action.
So what happens is you have early action.
Yeah.
Early action here, and then just the slow down, and eventually you're sharing equal amount of weight okay, around the top of action here.
Okay.
Then try to drop the body, and then try to hit the ball.
I mean, it all gradual.
But when you connect these and then make the backswing faster and connect this, then you have a lot active trail leg here. So trail leg not only pushes the ground down, but also laterally outward.
Yeah.
So this downward push and then unweighting, this gives a good vertical interaction with the ground. When you push the ground horizontally, laterally here, then the ground reaction force is acting this way. That force gives a good, recentering motion here. And also because of that horizontal force, the force arrow inclines like this.
Yes.
So still you have more force at this point, at the top, here, and then the force arrow inclines like this with the long
More
moment
toward
time
the
here.
target. Yeah. Okay.
That's coming from the trail leg action.
Right.
So the trail leg, or the overall the force, the lateral force, peaks around the top of backswing.
Okay.
So around the top of backswing, you have the largest horizontal force acting on the body.
Okay.
That's typical.
All right. Good.
But because you have the separation here in the backswing, and then hesitation here, and then downswing, that's why you cannot really keep pushing the ground in the horizontal direction.
Gotcha.
So you see, as you see, these two forces, you don't have much horizontal force acting. It's both are just more upright.
Okay.
So you're interacting with the ground at this stage more in the up and down direction only.
Okay.
So again, well, the benefit of faster backswing is you can combine this unweighting phase and this unweighting phase, so that you have a continuous unweighting
Yeah.
all the way to top of backswing. Then as soon as you reach the top of backswing, then you can start acceleration in the downward direction.
Cool.
So you don't need to have this elongated early downswing phase here. So these are what I see here. So I guess the key point here is speed up your backswing. As you speed up, it's not early quick action here, but rather more exaggerated motion toward the end of the backswing. So then you can really take advantage of this backswing motion into downswing here.
Perfect.
And you can combine these two phases together.
Okay.
So continuous unweighting.
Sweet.
So just simply speeding up the backswing, you will see a lot of benefits.
Okay.
At your level, club control is not a problem.
Yeah.
But if you want to improve the sequence and overall integrity of the swing, then it's the backswing motion.
Cool.
And in the backswing, use the trail leg here. So in order to push well here, you have to first load onto this side. So if you just here and then try to push this, then you tend to spin here. Then the hip goes backward.
Yeah.
But in order to prevent that, you have to first shift here so that you can really push the ground with the trail leg, right?
Cool.
So usually the backswing sequence is first you shift slightly to the body to this side here, so that let the right leg become your foundation, and then push here. This pushing moves the hip. This is hip motion, so turns the pelvis, and then ultimately the upper body here. So the leg action should give this turn motion here instead of just turning the body without using this. Still, it can be your foundation, and then you can turn this way. But in that case, you are not using the trail leg more actively here. Okay. So turn here.
Yeah.
And then you're shifting this way here. And then turn.
Gotcha.
So then you can use the legs actively. And then with this, when you have a more active leg action, you don't have to drag it here. In order to drag, then you have to start from here and pull it here.
Yeah.
Then you are killing the lower body here.
Okay.
So instead, using the leg action here, active leg action, and then throw, then here you will be able to stand on the lead leg and finish here instead of So the instability is
Yeah, that's what I
lifted.
struggle with. I never really stand on all
So these are all connected, but a good starting point will be speeding up the backswing.
Perfect.
So let's go back.
Let's do
We have
some
about,
programming.
yeah, let's try on the simulator.
Sure.
Let's try something. So particularly increasing the backswing speed.
Cool.